Okay, Chevra.
I'm just curious.
Let's just share. Let's just share.
Who gets the
You'll see.
donation?
You'll see. Don't worry.
Oh, there's a catch.
Let's share. Let's just Chevra.
Blowing the cover right now.
Let's share a few minutes of Torah. A few minutes of Torah in order to continue. It's all good. We're all good. We're recording. I'm on this side. Thank you. In order to continue this absolutely incredible Kiddush Hashem that we're all in the middle of witnessing. I'm sure many people here spent the day with, two screens on, one screen, three screens on, one screen just watching the ticker, one screen doing other things it's supposed to be doing, maybe the phone, and just watching. And to see 386 donations throughout the course of a 12-hour period is incredible. So let's just share a few words of Torah about the Parsha before we double down our efforts to Mirza Hashem, build this incredible shul. And obviously the Torah will be slightly connected. So two short verses I wanted to share, and then we'll connect them all together. Where should we start? We should start the Yosef Tzaddik is in Mitzrayim. Yosef Tzaddik is in Mitzrayim, in the darkest, worst places possible. So Ramosha Feinstein makes a fascinating observation. And Ramosha says, if you look at the Psukim, there's an extra word, Mitzrayim, that was thrown in there. When it says he's Oilel Gedula, when he says that Yaakov tells his family, there's an extra mention of Mitzrayim. We're not going to go involved in the Psukim right now. And says Ramosha, you know what this shows us? Ramosha says that it's telling you it was Mitzrayim. It was Holocaust. It was Cold War. It was the worst place ever. It was ICU. It was death. And Yosef found the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Feinstein points out you can have the worst situation ever. The Torah is teaching us you could find Hashem in every single situation. Actually, before I came here, I was sitting with someone who was telling me her life story, which is not for now. I didn't even hear the whole thing, and we sat for about a while. And one thing that she mentioned that resonated with me was how she was blind, confined to a wheelchair, she cannot move. Cancer was ravaging every single part of her body. And now she is standing, walking, talking, full reconstruction surgery on her face. She sees perfectly. She's driving. She's talking. She has a job. Nisim. If you want to find Hashem, you can find Hashem at any moment. So what does that have to do with our campaign? So what I was thinking earlier today, I'm sure everyone here maybe could share their thoughts afterwards. I was thinking, and I've said this at some times to the Chevri here, is let's in our brains rewind, let's say 1 year. Let's go back in our mind 1 year. Where were we last year, New Year's? Where were our lives last year, New Year's? And if we do that, and then we try to trace from there to here, if you don't find Nisim, if you don't find the miracles everywhere, then you're not looking. I mean, let's look around this room. Did this room look like this a year ago? No, not even close. A year ago, was there a fathom, was there a dream that a year later, literally to the date, you'd be in the middle of $1 million campaign and more than a quarter of the way there? With the Rav?
It was actually a lot.
There you go. I'll tell you, where was I a year ago? I only figured this out when I was searching through my notes, Parshas Vayigash. I was in the middle of starting a high school in the Five Towns. That's where I was a year ago. And I actually spoke this past week to Rabbi Avi Weller, who we were supposed to be partners in crime and open up a high school in the Five Towns. And what happened? Hashem said it's not the right thing to do right now. And it didn't happen. And what happened? Hashem, one day, outside the mirror, sent me Ramosha's older brother, and over a Shailin Hilchas Nida, a garage, some young guys, a shul, and lo and behold, a year later, we're sitting here. So if someone doesn't see Nisim in their own life, as Ramosha says, the Torah says Mitzrayim one extra time to tell us in the worst, most terrible, horrible moments, Hashem is there. And it's hard. I mean, we could just go back, or if Menachem, if you go back like the last few weeks and just see oh my gosh, how many times did people sit there as the campaign was we were trying to get ourselves together, sit there we're suffocating. We're suffocating. We need oxygen. You know, are we going to ever just get to the launch? Forget about getting our goal. It was just like, are we going to get to the launch? And V'siyata Dishmaya. But the question is, how do you get there? And this is hopefully the Baal Shem Tov, the Heilige Baal Shem, that we'll take home with us tonight. We'll take into our Mikdash Ma'at that we're sitting here, and hopefully to our Mikdash Ma'at, which will be slightly larger very, very soon, B'siyata Dishmaya. The Baal Shem Tov says that there's 3 times in the Torah, it's a medrash that says that when Yehuda approached Yosef, that we equate it to tefillah. We equate Yehuda talking to Yosef to tefillah. Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Vayigash, and he came close. And the Baal Shem Tov asks, what exactly was different about what Yehuda said to Yosef than he said prior? If you go back in the Psukim, it sounds like he said the same thing again. What did he do differently? Says the Baal Shem, a lesson that we have to take into every single one of our tefillahs. How was our Ma'ariv different tonight than last night? How was our Shemoneh Esrei different tomorrow morning than the next Shemoneh Esrei? The answer is it isn't. It's the same exact words. So ask the Baal Shem Tov, what's the difference? Why Vayigash love Yehuda? Why did this one work? He got through to Yosef. Why? Says the Baal Shem Tov, because Yehuda had an urgency, a passion, a fire when he approached Yosef that final time. That urgency, passion, fire, that's called kavanah. That's what fuels the tefillah. That's what the Medrash is teaching us when it equates Yehuda's impassionate plea to tefillah. So b'siyata dishmaya, the tefillah that we have right now, as we sit here, where we're holding Morty, 270? 271. We're holding as 271. The tefillah that we have is that we're not just building a building. And I said this, and I say it again, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. The Shulchan Aruch says, Yesh mi she'omer shebinyan beis haKnesses adifa mi mitzvah tzedakah. Which means you take the whole mitzvah of tzedakah, all the priority list, what do you have to put on top? Binyan beis haKnesses. The Vilna Gaon asks a question from Yerushalmi. He doesn't understand it, and the Gaon's answer doesn't help most shuls. So most shuls don't quote the Gaon, they quote the Shulchan Aruch, and then we pretend that it's true. But it's not emes. The Vilna Gaon is bothered by Yerushalmi, which we're not getting involved in right now. But Vilna Gaon says, if you don't have a shul, then Binyan Beis HaKnesses takes precedent. So I don't think the Vilna Gaon was only referring to if you're davening on a park bench. I would assume he's also referring to if you're davening in a freezing cold, sometimes flooded, toilets stuffed. Sounds like very violent, Menachem. Your message last Moshe Shabbos. You had to warn people before they read that one. Bloody toilets. I don't know what was going on over there. But either way, the Vilna Gaon is teaching us adifa mikulam, building such a shul, a place to take a garage and put it into a proper building that we could daven, that we could utilize the words of the holy Baal Shem Tov, the Heilige Baal Shem. That what? And I'm assuming you can have a niggin from the Baal Shem waiting for us in a moment. There you go. That we take the words of our tefillahs and take them from mere words to impassionate, fiery pleas. So the bracha, the tefillah that we have right now is that b'siyata dishmaya, we should all be successful. Anyone who listens, what are we at? 270. Should I not stop talking? This is going well. Maybe I shouldn't stop talking. 275. Anyone who's listening, please feel free to partake. It's not my request. It's no one in the shul's request. It's the Vilna Gaon's request. It's the Vilna Gaon's request. That what? Adifa mikulam. Adifa mikulam is binyan beis haKnesses b'siyata dishmaya. Our tefillah should all be niskabel. All causes throughout Klal Yisrael should fulfill and meet their goals. Klal Yisrael should continue being the most incredible people. Chevra, would any guy understand what we're doing right now? No. If any guy looked in this room and said, there's a bunch of Jews sitting around a table with some computers, some food, and they're sitting there raising hundreds and thousands of dollars from whom? From friends, from acquaintances, from people they didn't know. Every single person here throughout the day said, oh, I didn't know this one, and he gave me money, etc., etc. And she give us all the chizik, shkayach, agi'in sham.